God, I am so exhausted. It's like unreal. I mean, how long has it been since Harvester Day? Wait, is this still Harvester Day?
Dude, it's been a year. What have you been doing?
Well, you know, I mean, I've been making videos and stuff. I did like 10 of them, I think.
You did 5.
I did what? Oh, dude, come on. I gotta make it up to like the 10 people by making this the best Harvester Day ever.
You only did Harvester Day once? Kind of expected that to be a one-time thing, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, like how people thought Christmas was a one-off, haha. Guess what, dickhead? Santa's violation of NAP is an annual occurrence, and in a similar vein, the invasion of our reality by semi-obscure horror games made mostly between 1995 and 2006 is something we can't stop, but we can prepare for. Last year, we watched as Harvester wreaked the ills of a red tint on my reality, and this year, who knows what could happen. I mean, I do, but that's for later in the script, and also, I'm not going to tell you because I want you guys to watch the video, so sit down and be patient.
So what are you gonna do now?
Oh, I know exactly what I'm gonna fucking do. I'm gonna make these kids learn.
That sounds vaguely threatening.
Does it? I was trying to figure out a way to deliver that in a more welcoming way. Also, wait, I didn't know this was a conference call. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Hey kids, guess what? It's Harvester Day again! As such, it is once again time to examine a prime candidate for the holiday. 'Tis the reason for the season, after all. Last year, I looked at the nexus point of Harvester Day so that we could get a good glimpse as to what I mean when I talk about candidates for this annual bit. And, as we all know from that video, Harvester fucking terrifies me. But this isn't necessarily the case for today's subject. Illbleed is a somewhat obscure Dreamcast title coming to us from Tetsuro Sugimori, most famous for his artwork on Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Leave it out, baby! Leave it out!
Fuck! Still, Illbleed has languished in obscurity for the better part of 2 decades, and those who are familiar with it know it to be one of the strangest yet most charming games on the system. I find myself in the camp that absolutely adores Illbleed and find it to be an underappreciated gem of one of my favorite consoles. After all, it is my favorite Dreamcast title. Yeah, that's right, suck it, Choo Choo Rocket! I shouldn't have done that, that was mean. Now I feel bad. Beyond that, Illbleed is one of those games that people have a limited relationship with. You either A, haven't heard of it, B, heard of it but don't really know much past the first level, or C, played it and now you made a yearly video essay gimmick to afford you the opportunity to talk about it in depth because you deserve to be sectioned. So, before psychological services break down my door, allow me to invite you to experience Illbleed, and also to wish you a very happy Harvester Day. Who said I couldn't have fun on my own holiday, huh? It has been a rough year for me. Most of that was explained in the last video, so please watch it if you haven't. Subscribe to Badlad. But beyond that, I'm currently broke, the Wendigos are back, and it's cold outside. So I decided to give myself a little reward and not commit self-harm via interactive media by discussing Illbleed. Last year, I kind of avoided talking too much about Harvester's plot for fear that it would break through the meta-shamanic barrier and activate my latent GN programming. But this year is different. Since I have such a profound appreciation for Illbleed, I want to make the most comprehensive video discussing every facet of this title to give you the best insight as to what makes this game so special. This manifests mostly as a plot summary like I'm a 3rd grader writing a book report, so I'm already starting off better than most video essays you'll see online. But honestly, there isn't much more to Illbleed than what is blatantly apparent. I mean, I could sit here and regale you with flowery prose about how the game where you viciously beat a burn victim to death with his dead son's baseball bat is actually about the Boxer Rebellion, but I'll wait until we do Bioshock Infinite before getting on that one. Which, you know, weird side note, Bioshock Infinite literally has the Boxer Rebellion happen in it, and is still mostly about beating burn victim adjacents to death with baseball paraphernalia among other means. Funny how those things work out. Okay, off topic, but back on track. The best way to get Illbleed is to just surrender yourself to it because this game is blatantly nonsensical. This is apparent from the very first cutscene, which I'll just let some choice bits play out.
For as long as I can remember, my family ran what we called a horror caravan.
No!
Those are guest invitations to Illbleed. How'd you get them?
From a Pepco promotion.
Why yes, that is voice of Sonic, an actual clown, Ryan Drummond, voicing our buddy Kevin. By the way, that clown remark isn't a dig at Mr. Drummond, he is actually a professional clown slash mime. Oddly fitting for this game if I'm being honest. So this is our basic premise. We play as Eriko, a girl who grew up in a family that operated a haunted house attraction and as such is unable to be scared. She and her friends go to a spooky theme park named Illbleed, where if you can survive all the attractions, you can win upwards to $900 dues. As you enter into the park, you are separated from your friends and now must find them, survive the night, and escape with your life. I mean, I'm cool with this. I like this. Haunted theme parks are fun. If it works for Mr. R.L. Stine, then it works for me. I mean, hey, come on now. Are you better than him? He wrote Slappy. Come on, dude. Every level of Illbleed more or less proceeds the same way, except for that one, but we'll get there. Whoa. So, I'll go over how this game plays before getting into the levels proper. Illbleed as a game is designed like a piece of shit. I mean, it's solely based around the fact that you already know the level's traps. The basic gameplay loop is that you advance through each scenario and preemptively tag suspicious looking locations in front of you using the horror monitor so that you can anticipate the scare. This means the only way to not take damage is to correctly guess which areas will jump scare you. Now, I know you may be puzzled at the use of the word guess because this game clearly tells you if you see, smell, hear, or sense something amiss right in front of you. So you should be able to easily tell if you're going to get scared. I agree with you, but also this game intentionally has false alarms, so you can waste adrenaline, which is a limited resource, to tag something that isn't even a threat. This loop can become very frustrating because if you play poorly, you just tag everything and take damage when you inevitably run out of energy. Or you can decide to try and play conservatively and end up tanking hits because you didn't want to waste said adrenaline. Your best case scenario is that you play well, mark every trap, and take no damage. But then, you don't get to experience the scares, which are really fun little gags, so you take away a major aspect as to what makes this game fun because you're playing correctly. Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it? The game is, by all definitions, a poorly designed mess, but you aren't here to play DMC5, mechanical depth and nuance isn't Illbleed's strengths, and expecting that of this game is missing the point. What gives this game its charm is everything that surrounds the clunky and borderline broken gameplay. I won't belabor the point, but when aspects of design come up, I'll mention them when we come across them. Sound good? Perfect. Now, let's begin at Chapter 1. Chapter 1 of Illbleed is basically all of what most people know of this game. Let's players who decide to take the Illbleed dive mostly just play through this level and drop the LP right there. And honestly, I don't blame them. Something I love about Illbleed is the intro monologues for each chapter. They do a really cute job of recreating old-timey horror movie trailers, and especially reminds you of the intro to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The Home Run of Death tells the story of a hotel owner and his young son named Jimmy. Jimmy is a youth baseball prodigy and his father's pride and joy. One day, however, Jimmy was burned alive in a fire caused by some reckless teens, and his father was scarred both mentally and physically. It now falls upon you to enter into the hotel and, well, get out alive, I suppose. This is the most straightforward portion of the game. It hits on all the basic mechanics, the level is well designed, and the camp atmosphere is in full effect. Illbleed is mostly a send-up of schlock horror from the early to mid-80s. You know, your chopping balls, your Lucio Fulci joints, and other slasher icons. Chapter 1 is most reminiscent of Friday the 13th, but replaced Pamela Voorhees with... Oh. Hey big guy, was poppin'. Mr. Bambalo is the most famous thing from Illbleed because... well, fucking look at the state of him. Also, don't forget his catchphrase. Each level basically has your main villain of the hour who, for the most part, hams it up, and then you go and you kill him in a big old boss fight and you're on your way. Oh fuck, I forgot to talk about combat. So, the general playstyle is all about taking it easy and just taking your time and getting through the levels. But then, you get caught by the, and I shit you not, random JRPG style encounters, and this shit goes from putting one foot in front of the other to fucking nom. There is a reason this game measures heart rate as a trackable stat, because I feel like I'm gonna have a fucking heart attack. The best way to get out of these encounters is to rush to the helicopter landing pad and mash like your life depended on it, before you catch a foot in the dome, that is. Thankfully, I was raised on a diet of Metal Gear Solid and Mario Party, so mashing is in my blood. This game has only sharpened those skills because holy fuck, you're going to be doing some movement. I play Illbleed on original hardware, so the creaky, inflexible Dreamcast analog stick really starts to fuck with me as I try to wave dash away from Jackie Chan and the Boo crew. And then sometimes escape just isn't possible. You have to fight back. And that, my friends, is when I unleash El Diablo.
Move! Fuck off me! Dummy! Move! Fuck off me! Dummy! Move! Fuck off me! Dummy! Fuck off me! Dummy! Move! Fuck off me! Move! Move! Fuck off! Move! Fuck off me! Dummy! 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 Move! Fuck off me! Dummy! Dummy! Move! Fuck off me! Dummy! Dummy! Fuck off! Move! Fuck off me! Dummy! Fuck off!
Like I said, this chapter is pretty straightforward and mostly just serves to introduce the player to both the main mechanics and especially the tone that we will see going forward. This game is a horror game, but it is also incredibly funny. It lies in that cursed valley between scary and hilarious. I'd argue it's similar to something like a trauma film or Gremlins, where the events happening are technically horrific, but also lol. Jimmy. This level ends with us reuniting with our friend Kevin and also a kaiju fight. After killing old turkey face, you discover that, yeah, he's an animatronic because this is still a theme park. The game constantly reminds you of this fact by having fun little touches like the save points being photo booths, which I always just find charming. Now that we have conquered this part that everyone knows about, it's time to get real weird. Chapter 2 of Illbleed actively breaks the gameplay flow that you would expect by having no traps to scan for. This level is more focused on puzzle solving and
what he was talking about.
I'm gonna cry. Platforming. The platforming in Illbleed is, well, it's something. Imagine if Silent Hill 1 had a horrific flipper-handed freak baby with Mario 3D World. I'd argue that this level has the worst segment in this game if it weren't for... I think I'm gonna be sick. What this level lacks in any notable gameplay, it makes up for in its story, because holy fuck. This chapter tells the story of a town being ruined by a giant worm, and we get flashbacks and exposition about a dead farmer and his lost daughter named Rachel. Through some sleuthing, we discover that the giant worm du jour and the daughter are in fact the same thing, and this dude raised a whole ass worm and gave it the name of a field hockey player. After doing some... So you can't get... platforming and committing a wormicide? A nelidicide? I don't know how this lines up in a legal lens. Is a big worm a person? Regardless, you kill Rachel and you're rewarded with this cutscene. Now, before I play it, I just want to let you all know that I am one to sometimes hyperbolize about different things. I don't want to do that here. So believe me when I tell you the force of the laughter I experienced when I first saw this cutscene with Pat and Robert almost 3 years ago is unmatched. So, without further intrusion, please experience the worm.
Grandpa! Rachel! I've missed you so. You appear to be okay. Oh, that's a relief. At last, we can be together forever. Let's go back to hell. Hey, you, young one. Thank you. I'll never forget your kindness.
Despite there not being much meat on this chapter's bones, it's a pretty entertaining detour and gets us our second party member, Michelle. I guess now's a good time to talk about our little group of friends since they're all actually playable characters. One problem though, they fucking suck. See, you can pick up different upgrades that can boost things like your health, your adrenaline, your heart rate, etc. By this point, you spent most of your money you've accrued from succeeding in the first 2 chapters into upgrading Eriko, so she already has an advantage over her friends. This on top of the fact that Eriko is the most balanced out of all of them. Every character tends to have a different drawback on top of a positive. Like Kevin is strong but has short range, Michelle's fast but takes hits like a house of cards, Randy is a beefcake but has almost no adrenaline so you can't scan for traps, and Jorg, well, fuck Jorg. Who the fuck plays Jorg? Communist, that's who. Better blood than red. Get it? Bled? Because Jorg has a low bleeding threshold? Huh? Look, I've played upwards to 50 hours of Illbleed collectively. Please be nice to me and laugh at my jokes, okay? So, with that, why would you not play Eriko? Not to mention, she's the only one with a spine. That's not a metaphor or anything. If you get hit by an enemy as any character not named Eriko, you will crumple like a Gmod ragdoll and be force-fed your own appendix. The only way to remedy this is to pick up and equip a shock bracer for your boys. Which, I ask again, why would you go through all this trouble when Eriko is right fucking there and has no downside? I know you want to fuck Randy, so do I. Patrick, please play the fan cam. Yup, we're doing it again. So with that rant out of the way and us accepting our role as Eriko Truekin, this game is pretty much a cakewalk, except for... I think I'm gonna be sick again. This chapter kinda sucks. In fact, chapter 3, 4, and 5 all come together to make a nice tasty sludge for the middle point of the game. This section entertains us with the not all too interesting tale of the McLaughlin lumber mill and yada yada yada, you're a Woodpuppet now. Welcome to your new life because at this very moment you are the best possible character in Illbleed. See, Eriko's attacks normally have a large amount of end lag, yet she also has an amazing dodge that has absurd iframes. But when you're a Woodpuppet, you can't dodge. This seems like a massive drawback, no? Well, check this shit out. Sometimes, just sometimes, I fucking love Illbleed. It's just a damn shame that this chapter is kind of bare. Not much that you haven't seen before, so I'd rather not waste your time and just skip to showing you the final boss. I've made stupid jokes before that, oh, Illbleed, but it's Dark Souls, ha ha ha, but honestly, if you tried to make the Curse Rod of Greatwood on the Dreamcast, this is probably what you get. I don't have a clever way to end this chapter, so I'm going to put an =3 transition. This chapter is one of the absolute longest and drags the most in my opinion. This level is designed less like a department store and more so like a Final Fantasy 1 dungeon. It's multi-layered and incredibly easy to miss shit in. Best example is when I miss the axe, which is crucial to the combat scenarios going forward since I don't want to beat my meat with my raw fist and... oh fuck. Oh, this came out wrong. My friends, like my actual friends watch my videos. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, baby Jesus. I'm sorry, Canadian Buddha. Killer Department Store is all about the eponymous vendor and its notorious leader, Cashman. Cashman is quite the, character? Well, no, there are no characters in Illbleed, just skinwalkers. I seem to have only upset them. But on a serious note, Cashman is actually a really funny antagonist for the few seconds he's around. More so it's just the shit said about him and the fact that his subordinate gladly killed himself for disappointing him by dropping his productivity as of late, also known as the capitalist ideal honk honk. Allow me to vent about level design for just a split second. Despite Illbleed giving you a, well, I'm not gonna call it good, but it's definitely a map. Since Illbleed gives you a map, you'd think getting lost would be nigh impossible, but it happens to be all too frequently, especially after exiting combat scenarios. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but I feel as though it has something to do with how you exit said situation. Say I'm face down the hall and during the course of the fight in which the camera completely changes perspective, I end up facing the other side of the hallway. When I load back into the game proper, Eriko is faced somewhere in the middle favoring the end of the combat location. I'm not confident this is how it works, but the fact that I even have to mention it is concerning enough. Beyond this, Illbleed is a very cheaply made game, and it shows mostly in the reusing of stock textures. This is going to be a problem in the next chapter, so please keep that in mind. This way of getting turned around and beelining through certain parts of this game can lead to you missing crucial aspects of levels that you'll need for progression. It's funny because it's been about 2 years and a global pandemic since I last played Illbleed with intent, so I missed a lot of shit. And God bless this absolute champion in my Twitch chat who was there to have my back on multiple occasions. This fucking Chad beat this game 6 times, and to that I gotta give you props. Oh, by the way, now's as good a time as any to plug my Twitch, and more specifically the Illbleed drinking game. Okay, so when you've raw dogged Illbleed and really taken it all in, that is when I recommend the drinking game. Basic rules work like this. Every time you miss a trap, take a shot. Every time you die, take 2. Every time you actually get jump scared by anything in the game, you have to down your whole drink. These are your overarching rules, while each chapter has their own individualized rules, which I will post right here, except for chapter 3, because again, it's kind of dry. Do you see the rules for this chapter though? Every mention of Cashman, take a drink. Every time I mess up the jump rope, take a drink. So I bet some of you are asking what I mean by jump rope. Well, I mean fucking jump rope. It is an honest to God harrowing experience whenever I see that fucking gate. It triggers that little node in my brain that tells me not to jump in front of trains or talk to Smash players. It screams danger, but I had no choice but to face those fears. Patrick, please play the annual Steve Mason Memorial Cringe compilation starring me.
You're cringe! You're cringe! You're cringe! You're cringe! You're cringe! Yeah, motherfucker! Yeah!
I sat here and did this for a clean 17 minutes through 2 console resets, and upwards to 25 drinks later, I fucking did it. However, this is a blanket improvement on my previous time of about, I'd say 3 hours. I don't know what it is, but at this point, I just flub it. By the way, that's 25 drinks on top of the others I took, since I had almost no adrenaline during this chapter, so I needed to take hits, which meant another drinky for Mikey. Also, at this point, I got jump scared because a cricket hopped on my foot, so there's a shotgun for you. You know, I'm starting to think I hate Illbleed. What fucks me up the most is that this level doesn't even have a boss in the classic sense. The most you get is a big spider with Cashman's face on it, and you just run him into a wall using a remote control guard left unattended, which is concerning because he's clearly horny on the phone, but in chapter 1, we saw that the guards are all robots, so does he have a robot girlfriend? Is he electro horny? Do they have robo babies, or does it come out as a calculator? Where do robot babies go if they're unbaptized? Do coke nails count as a cybernetic augment if they can connect to 5G? I spent too much time inside this year. So, since this level's boss is a big pushover, that means that the true final boss is... Chapters 3, 4, and 5 all just have something that pisses me off. In Chapter 3, it's how kind of boring it all is. Chapter 4 is a jump rope, and Chapter 5 is... We'll get there. Things like this don't ruin the game for me necessarily, but it definitely makes a replay questionable. From here though, I'm sad to say it only gets worse. Following Illbleed's basic chapter structure, I think Chapter 5 has my favorite twist on it. Something about turning the game from a hokey horror game to a silly detective drama works well in its favor. That on top of the fact that this section introduces the boy, the man, the sentient six-head, Jorg. Everybody clap for Jorg. Jorg is actually the main character in this chapter. Every cutscene more or less centers around Jorg's investigation, which is incredibly thorough, might I add.
This is a homicide case. Somebody killed him. You should have seen.
Masterful deduction, Jorg. I'm a big fan of the progression in Illbleed. We went from an undead T-ball dad to a big worm to a tree, I guess, to a cash man, and now we have a Killerman who is well, see, Killerman is If I had to say, this chapter has my favorite story of the first 5. It's a pretty fun mystery, and the idea of Killerman is actually pretty cool, if not absurd. But we passed the threshold for absurdity when I hit that dinger with that dead kid's bat. It's actually fun to try and piece it all together, and it reminds me of Scream of all things. I also love the usage of the backstage of this park as a setting. We get the greatest hits of enemies, and there are lots of kayfabe breaking bits that are really charming. What isn't so charming is Killerman himself. Most of the villains of Illbleed have some level of a defining trait or gimmick that makes them stick out from the others, but Killerman's whole thing is basically his design. Don't get me wrong, it's a great design. It's kind of a meeting between Homelander and Destroyman with a dash of Jason Voorhees, but he doesn't do anything beyond killing because, and I cannot reiterate this enough, he's called Killerman. It's nice because for about 80% of this level, everything goes pretty smoothly. The story is fun, the dialogue is goofy, everything you could possibly want out of an Illbleed chapter. Mwah, c'est la vie. The vibes will never get better than this. And then, it happens. Now, I will preface this with the fact that in my most recent playthrough, this section took me about 20-ish minutes, but I'm writing this video as both an experienced Illbleeder and also reminiscing on my first time through. So what is this dreaded part I keep alluding to? It's fucking this! I got lost in this chapter my first time around for almost 2 hours doing nothing but wandering. I know, that sounds pathetic, but it's true. It's so true that it hurts. My blood ran cold when I decided to go for Jorg on this current run through. Because if you just approach the maze and try to gun it for the exit, this could be done in about like 4 minutes. But without a walkthrough and a good gap of time between my last journey through Jorg Quest 2001 and now, it became an ordeal. And once you introduce jump rope shotgunning, this should have been impossible for me. So, I'm proud with 20 minutes or so. I hope you're proud of me too, One Piece wall scroll I sleep under.
Of course I am, my child.
You know, on any other day of the year, that wall scroll would not respond. This video's gone on too long. If I had any criticism of Illbleed that couldn't be hand-waved away with the, oh, the jank is the charm excuse, it's shit like this. Every level just has some pace-demolishing section in it that makes replaying it a chore. I call out chapters 3, 4, and 5 specifically just because they have it the worst, but I can't pretend like chapters 1 and 2 aren't guilty as well. Chapter 1 has this fucking disgusting kaiju section that makes me want to just peel my fingernails off and mount them in my Christmas tree, and chapter 2 has, I fucking botched it, platforming. It's just a mark of needing a gimmick, because frankly, the main gameplay loop of Illbleed is just boring. Like I said, if you play it right, nothing super interesting happens. And if you want to experience the fun gags, then you have to intentionally play poorly. It's a game I love, but can only play once every couple of years. This chapter serves as a pretty flat finale, all things considered. I mean, we all know that getting Jorg is the final character, so this has to be the end, right? Right? Alright, this is it. This is the best chapter. When I originally played Illbleed, I knew about the first level and some bits here and there later on, but no one told me about Cork Goes to Hell. Just speechless. Imagine going to Disney World, having a good time, and then you get flashbanged and smashed in the face with a baseball bat, and you wake up in a factory that produces blowjobs and makes dreams come true. That is what experiencing Chapter 6 of Illbleed Blind is like. I have to use protracted metaphors such as that because Court Goes to Hell is such a singular experience that only you in specific can have. It loses its effect on a replay because you're already aware of what to expect, but that all-important first exposure is what cements this as my favorite chapter. Toyhunter is special in Illbleed in that it is exclusively a story chapter. What does this mean? Well, it means that certain caution marks have this blip that denotes them as a story event. So by marking and avoiding them, you miss the entire point of this chapter. Now, I hear you say, "Hey Michael, love the channel, also couldn't help but notice that massive dick of yours. But isn't it a bit counterintuitive to the entire core gameplay loop preceding this?" To which I say, why, yes, thank you, I am quite endowed today. And also, yes, even though there is a distinctive mark to say, "Hey, jackass, don't mark this," the game doesn't really explain that aspect to the player very well. Like, really explain it. Get down to actual brass tacks and tell me the consequence of my actions. Like, Cork descends from up on high to tell you about this mechanic, but I feel like he leaves out that very crucial detail of just what actually happens if I fuck up and mark it. I mean, he could have said that. I don't know. I was too busy being distracted by this hunk of a man. But if you can prove to me that he does actually warn you about this, please go in my comments and be the first person in human history to get butt mad that someone is spreading misinformation about Illbleed. I dare you. I think this sucks not because it makes the game harder or is unfair or what have you, but because by drilling this muscle memory, you end up missing out on some of the best content this game has to offer. This chapter functions on a level that is beyond analysis. Talking about the events of Court Goes to Hell is like dancing about algebra, but if I had to say something profound about Chapter 6, it would be that everything I love about Illbleed is distilled and processed into its best form here. Every good, bad, weird, and genius idea this game could make, it does, and it pays off immensely well. It's almost a tragedy that Illbleed is as obscure as it is. If I could, I would share this chapter with as many people as possible. You know what? I think I will. Patrick, my boy, if you don't mind, please, cork it up for the audience.
Oh, sexy doll.
Everett! Oh, ow! My head hurts!
Here's your favorite sexy doll. She'll comfort you. Cork, darling, I love you, but I guess this is our goodbye.
No! No! There's nothing he can do! Oh, shut up!
No, we shall get a death penalty!
I hear ya! Yeah, kill the bum and send him to hell! Roger that.
Cork. According to the Toy Penal Code 99, you are sentenced to death. You'll be hung at 6 o'clock and go directly to hell.
Well, how'd you like to hook up a game with Sexy Doll, who's been kidnapped and taken to hell? The best way to do that is by actually getting executed.
Sexy Doll, we'll be together again.
When we go back home, tell me your adventure story on our cuddly bed. If you like.
This deep into this video, I kind of realized why Illbleed isn't well documented online. Not because of its latent obscurity, though that is an aspect of it, but because Illbleed is one of those pieces of art that speaks for itself. But before I get to that, let's take a quick look at the finale.
I'm a man of my word. Here, I present you $100 million.
Alright, well, this has been the finale of Illbleed, so what is it that Illbleed leaves with us? Well, Illbleed is a weird facet of my life. Much like Harvester did, it invades a very specific hall in my mind palace, and has been living rent-free for quite a while. It started years ago when I saw a few Let's Players I enjoyed playing it, and when I finally got my hands on a Dreamcast, it was one of the first games I burnt. From there, over the course of about a year or so, my friends and I would get together and indulge in Illbleed and just gawk at everything we saw. It became this tradition of ours, and when the journey ended, it was kind of bittersweet. That's what I find so valuable about Illbleed. It's just a game I get to share with my friends. I love to break it out and expose some unaware person to the myriad of bizarre decisions made in this title. It's a fun way to connect with others, and it's a special experience I've been privileged enough to share with my closest friends. It was something that I kind of lost sight over the last year. After that last video, it's clear I didn't have the best time, but I really began to lose sight of how much I valued my friends, and being able to play Illbleed and sharing that experience again, it brings me a joy that's hard to describe. This far into the holiday season, I find it appropriate to reflect and be grateful for not only my friends who helped me get this far, but to thank all of you for supporting me so much over these last few months. I know I haven't been as productive, but, you know, I hope to meet those expectations come the new year. So, as a last goodbye to this lovely Harvester Day, let's watch the ending of Illbleed together as friends.
How are we gonna spend $1 million?
I bought 385 different kinds of Freddy dolls, and I still have a lot left.
I invested in the stock market.
You really trust the stock market?
I don't know. I think so.
Eriko, what's wrong?
Oh, nothing. Never mind. She's probably in one of her philosophical moods.
Hey, Eriko, are you thinking of your secret love or something?
Maybe it's me. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all.
I'm going back to Illbleed. What?
What?
What? If she goes, I go.
Thanks, Randy, but this time I have to go alone.
Why? What's going on?
Kevin, butt out! She doesn't need a guy right now, okay? Wait for me, guys. If I make it back, I'll probably be a changed girl.
We'll be right here, waiting and praying.
I'm sure you'll make it through, but be careful and don't change too much.
If you got into trouble, try and telepathically communicate with me, okay? I can be at your side in no time. Right. Thanks a lot, guys. I love you all.
Wait, I have to play Illbleed again? Okay, now let us watch the true ending of Illbleed together as a happy fucking family!
The new president of the Horror Research Club will now be me, Kevin Kurtzman, due to the fact that our old president Eriko is just not the same anymore. Poor Eriko. Once fearless and strong, she turned into a vulnerable little girl who needs a fearless knight in shining armor to protect her. Like me. Yeah. And the sad part is, I can't go to the horror house with her anymore.
It wasn't worth it. Fuck! God damn it! God damn it! That fucking channel's a fucking mistake! Oh no. It's time.
Oh man, what a beautiful Boxing Day. I don't celebrate Boxing Day, but I still think it's neat.
Pat, we got ourselves a fucking problem.
Is it the pack of Wendigos that followed you while you were barging into my home, uninvited?
Badlad's just a format. He's got a small dumpy from the amount of gas let out. Badlad. I'm looking for the combat, thank you.
Well, yeah, but that's a later issue. It's this.
Did you get the true ending of Illbleed again?
Yeah, I did.
And do you remember what happened last time someone did that?
No. That doesn't make any sense. Illbleed came out almost a decade after that happened.
Well, the reaches of Illbleed aren't bound by linear time.
Sure, I guess.
Well, I suppose I should take a look at the damage.
Oh shit, that ain't good!
Wait, it's still good? It's still fine? Don't worry, we can fix this.
What? How? It's a full Steve out there. It's basically the end times.
With a little bit of this capitalist lettuce, baby.
With what?
Cold, hard cash.
I'm sorry, where did you get all of that?
Come on, don't you know? When you survive Illbleed, you win $100 million. That's enough to pay Steve to go fuck off. Hey, Steve! Fuck off! That didn't work. Pat, I need ideas.
I know. Why don't we just do the thing we did last year? You know, I'll make a montage out of all the stuff we did. You know, it'll be great.
You see, I would, but I only made 5 videos, and that's not enough to go off of.
Yeah. Well, shit, I'm out of ideas.
Why don't you guys just get rid of the Dreamcast?
Jesus Christ, don't sneak up on me like that. Wait, I didn't know this call was ongoing.
Yeah, I've been here the whole time. When I hang up, I think I'm gonna run out of minutes soon.
Wait, you have a minutes plan still? It's like 2021, almost 2022. Do kids even get that bit anymore?
My financial situation is not a bit. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna enjoy fucking my hot phone wife as you two goobers get whopped by an old-ass horror game no one cares about!
Okay, thank you, Mr. Phone Man. Enjoy that phone strange.
Patrick, don't encourage him.
Aww.
So, how are we gonna get rid of this thing?
We must return it to its master.
I understand. Ready for launch?
Ready, boss man.
3, 2, 1, and liftoff.
Really brings a tear to my eye.
Me too, bud. Me too.
So, now that we're free from Harvester for another year, ready to get to work on that Silent Hill video?
I mean, yeah, I'm really excited. Silent Hill 4 is a pretty good game. I know it's not the most popular in the franchise, definitely not the fan favorite, but I really like it nonetheless.
Oh, you're funny.
I know I am, but I'm not joking.
Oh. That's really unfortunate.
Do you mind telling me why?
Because we're doing Downpour next.
Oh no, please, not like this.
What? It's just a game, it's not that bad.
No, it's not that, just one small question.
Yeah? What's that?
Did we ever close the rocket hatch?
No. Why?
Oh dear Neptune. Hello, it's me, your boy, Michael. I know I did the bit in the video, but I do genuinely want to thank all of you for supporting me through this tumultuous year, and I hope that, you know, in the next year we can get things a little bit more on track and kind of get out the content that we want to get out as quickly as we want to get it out. So thank you so much for being patient and for allowing us to hit so many milestones this year. It is a great feeling to finally be over that 1K threshold, and I just want to say thank you for your continued support, and I hope that you share this video around and kind of spread the word on Illbleed, because it is genuinely something I love to share with people, and I hope this video can kind of accomplish that. And, you know, last thing, I guess, I just want to say thank you to the people who have helped me with putting my videos together. Now I want to say their names because I don't know if they want to be outed, but you know who you are. They've been nothing but a great help, and especially Pat, who has been working with me for the better part of, it has to be 2 years at this point, at least on videos, and I could not put out the level of content that I do without his help. So thank you so much to all of you, and please follow our socials, Twitter, Twitch, everything is linked in the description. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye.